Hi everybody, Jessica Nadav bringing you this week's Devar Torah. I'd like to give this Devar Torah for the Refuah Shlema of Eric Yitzchak ben Miriam, Chava Freidel Batadita Malka, Harav Shimon ben Sarah, Harav Shemuel Yosef ben Rachel, and in the merit of all our brave Chayalim and Chayalot, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should keep them all safe and sound and protect them all. So this week we start the book of Bemidbar, Numbers, by reading the parasha of the same name, meaning in the desert. Now, in this week's parasha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu orders Moshe Rabbeinu to conduct a census of all the tribes, of all the 12 tribes. And we're told about the formation in which Bnei Israel traveled through the desert by tribes, under what flags, etc. Now, when we think about different tribal flags and groups, we often think of nationalism, division, dissonance, dissension, difference, disagreements, maybe even war. So why would the Torah here underline all these possibilities for us? So the Midrash tells us that the opportunity to receive the Torah was given not just to Bnei Israel, but to many other nations. It's a well-known Midrash that HaKadosh Baruch Hu offered the Torah to other nations, and before accepting it, they asked, what does this Torah of yours contain? And amazingly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose an example for each nation that was the exact opposite of what came naturally to them, what was their natural inclination. So, for example, to Yishmael's children, he mentioned Lo tignov, don't steal. When in fact Yishmael was told that he would live from stealing and pillaging. How could his descendants live from something that came so naturally to them, something that was inherent in them? So to the descendants of Esav, another example, he said, Lo tifsach, don't murder, knowing full well that their predecessors' blessing was that he would live by the sword. And to Ammon and Moab, he said, Lo tinaf, do not commit adultery. What are Moab and Ammon? They're the results of incest. They came from incest, an incestuous relationship. So for each people, he chose the opposite of what was their natural inclination and what was the people. So while it is true that we responded properly and the others rejected Hashem's treasure, why is it that he selected the specific law that would have been the most difficult for each nation to observe? Would we have responded with Naseh v'nishma? We shall do and we shall listen, if we were faced with a challenge that was most difficult for us? And what in fact was that challenge that was most difficult for us? So my husband's Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Chaim Yaakov Goldfitch, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, answered that at Har Sinai, in fact, we did overcome our greatest Yetzirah, our greatest bad inclination or evil inclination. And we did meet the challenge that remains unto this day. It still remains our biggest challenge, our greatest stumbling block as a people, as a Jewish nation. And that is to act and to be as one, to be united. Our predilection as a people is to quarrel, to argue. We always argue with each other. You know that old joke, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, or that's the synagogue I don't go to. Now those are jokes, but they're based on absolute truth. We find it difficult to unite, to agree with each other. And because of that, we never achieve what we could achieve together. Our inability to act upon the belief of Elu ve'elu, Divrei Elokim Chaim, those and these are the words of the living God, meaning we can both be right. There's potential for all of us to be right. Causes machloket, causes argument, causes dissent, and causes disrespect. And ultimately the sin of sinat chinam, of baseless hatred. And that's been the bane of our existence as a nation. So in preparation for Matan Torah, for the receiving of the Torah, we're told in Shemot, Bemidbar Sinai vayis'u merfidim vayavo Midbar Sinai vayachanu Bemidbar. And they came to Midbar Sinai, they journeyed from Refidim, and they arrived at the wilderness of Sinai, and they camped in the desert. All of that in the plural. They came, they journeyed, they arrived, and they camped. But when we get to Har Sinai, it says Vayichan, and he camped in the singular. And Rashi is a very famous quote from Rashi. He quotes the Mechilta, which comments, and they count ke'ish echad belev echad, like one person with one heart. At the time of Matan Torah, at the time of the receiving of the Torah, we passed the test. We showed that we were able to overcome our biggest challenge and unite, ke'ish echad belev echad, like one person with one heart. Now we're coming close to finishing the count of the Omer. Today we're on day 42 on time of recording, and it's a period in which we've spoken about before. We try and use this period to develop and improve our personal traits, our midot. And we stand at the threshold of Zeman Matan Torah. We stand at the threshold of the time to receive the Torah, or the giving of the Torah, and we stand there complete, hopefully having improved ourselves, better people than we were at Pesach, hopefully. Now we've been talking the last few weeks about doing for others. What can we do for others? About mitzvot ben adam lechavero, mitzvot between man and man, with the aim of becoming this unified nation that can stand at Sinai, proud and tall as one person, with one heart. And the challenge remains, not just can we stand as individuals, having worked on ourselves, but can we do better? Can we work better for our nation, for our people? How can we use that work that we've strived towards to be better for our nation, for our people? How can we unite? How can we use that to create more unity within our communities, within our people? And this week's parasha comes to teach us that unity is not uniformity. Each tribe had their own flag. They had their own position in Bnei Israel. They each had their own thing in Bnei Israel. They each had their own role. They were different, just like we each are. But they walked together. They camped together. They did everything together as a people, each in their own role, each in their own position, but together. They didn't need to give up their identities or their differences, but they had to go forward and live together, unified. And we stand here on what many people call Shabbat Kala. The Shabbat before any wedding is called Shabbat Kala, but specifically this week is the Shabbat before Shavuot, the Shabbat before the ultimate wedding, the wedding between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Shavuot. And in the same way as a couple have to face their differences and remain united as a couple, so we too have to face our differences, remain united. It's a challenge, right? It's a challenge. But we have to face our differences and unite ke'ish echad belev echad. Like one person with one heart, strengthening our people. And when Bnei Israel is united, we can do anything. We are rocket powered. That's what echad means. Echad means, I've said it before, the numerical value of echad, 13, is the ultimate number of unity. 13 represents the 12 tribes and Yaakov Avinu, who brought them together. As one unit, ke'ish echad belev echad, we're rocket powered. Shabbat Shalom.